Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kateri, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. Alright guys, so today it is May wrap-up time, and I am so excited, guys. May has been an absolutely fantastic reading month for me, like, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna give a little, like, rundown of what I read, how much, real quick, and then I'm gonna go into individual reviews on the books. Short ones. I'm gonna try to make this short because guys, I read a lot this month. Okay, so for the month of May, I read 2 graphic novels, 1 manga, 4 romance, 2 Christian nonfiction, 1 children's lit classic, 1 sci-fi, 2 historical fiction, 1 thriller, and 1 middle grade, for a total of 15 books. Oh my gosh. Guys, I read 15 books this month. Last month, when I read 12 books, I was like, there's no way I can ever read more than 12 books. Like, this is the most I've ever read in a month. And then this month I was getting up there and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make it to 12 again. And then I surpassed it. And I surpassed it by 3. And guys, I'm like amazed at myself. Like, this is just amazing. This will probably be the most I ever read. So, hey, what a great video, right? Total, guys, I read 3,924 pages worth. Now, this does include the 2 graphic novels and the manga, so I know those aren't like as much, but even taking away those, I'm still over 3,000 pages, which is amazing to me, like, wow. And I did listen to 1 audiobook this month, and that audiobook was 4 hours and 54 minutes long, so, you know, that was my time listened. We're gonna get into the books, guys. Right. So the first book that I read in the month of May, I'm just gonna do this in order of how I read it, is The Vintage Flower Van on Love Heart Lane. This was by Christie Barlow. I got this for free to read off NetGalley. This did come out, which I already posted my reviews and stuff, but this did come out, I think, the 23rd of May. This is the 13th or 14th book, I believe, in a series, interconnected kind of series. It was kind of pitched to me as a contemporary romance, but I felt like it had more literary fiction in it than contemporary romance. I gave this one a 3.25 stars. I was most interested about this partly because it was set in Scotland, and that is part of my family heritage. So I thought that was cool, but I didn't get a lot of the Scottish setting in this. Nonetheless, it was still pretty decent, pretty cute story. If you're wanting just kind of like a small town literary fiction with a hint of romance in it, I do think this is pretty good. And you definitely do not need to read any of the other books in the series to like read this one. I do think I was a little lost the first chapter or 2 because it did talk a lot about like other characters and stuff. Try to introduce them all to you since you've never read any of the other books, but after I got past that part, it was decently enjoyable. All right, and then the second book I read this month was The Cursed Princess Club Volume 2. Oh my gosh, guys, this one has episodes 31 to 61 in it from the webtoon, because this is a webtoon that's being turned into graphic novel series. Guys, this was so good. This was so good. I rated this one a 4 stars. This is by LambCat. I have a review of the first one. There was still a little bit of content in this one. I think this one had, yeah, I literally thought it was going to be like fine. I was like, oh, we're not gonna have because I think this one had only 1 maybe gay joke or something, like it was not as much as the first one. And I was like, there's gonna be no partial nudity, but then there was at the very, very end. So this does have some like gay jokes, a minor side in the background, lesbian couple, which I didn't like, and then the partial nudity parts, but so such a good book. So that was the second book I read this month. All right, and then the third book was Willowbrook Road by Sheryl Woods. I read this on my Chop or Not TBR series, and I ended up reading through all of this one. Obviously, I gave this a 3.75 stars. I didn't love it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it because it isn't a series, and I don't think I have much interest to finish the series, but I do enjoy Sheryl Woods' writing. This one also had a single dad trope, which it was an interesting twist because he basically took over his nephew when his sister and brother-in-law died. So it was like first time parenting too. But I just hadn't read that before, which is part of the reason why it kept me interested. The romance was decently cute. It wasn't anything amazing, but this was clean and closed door. So yeah, solid read. I enjoyed it. I'm just not sure if I'm going to keep it or not. So, all right. And then the next book is actually one that I fulfilled. I did the Southern Charm Readathon this past month, and I'm happy to say I fulfilled all the prompts, guys. I did double up on a couple of them, but book lover Amanda said that was okay. So, and this one fills the Chicken and Dumplings prompt, which is a book you think will be a comfort read. And it definitely was a comfort read, guys, because that was Anne of Avonlea by Montgomery, and this was my 5-star read of the month. I did a reading till I find a 5-star book, and I read like 7 or 8 books until I found this one, guys. And I'm so glad I finally found one, but this was wonderful. This is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and it follows Anne as she is now 16 and starting off her first year as a school teacher. It's very good. I would highly recommend it for you and your children, tween, young teenage. Like, I read the first one when I was 9, so very much enjoyed it. The Puffing Classics covers are amazing, and I am in love with them. So, but that was the first prompt fulfilled with this one. And then the 5th book that I read this month was Spy Family Volume 2. I was very excited to read this. I didn't quite love it as much as I loved the first one. This one was only a 4-star for me. And also, guys, this is by a Japanese artist, and I don't want to butcher his name, so you can just look it up. But this was pretty good. There were some really cute and like heartwarming and sweet like silent family moments in this one that I really enjoyed. I have had warnings that there are some content stuff in some later volumes. I haven't gotten to any of that yet. I'm still going to continue it for the time being because I've been liking it, but it was just a good solid 4 stars, nice quick little manga read. So, all right, and then the next book actually fulfilled 2 of my prompts for the Southern Charm Readathon. The first prompt that it fulfilled was Sweet Tea, a book with something sweet on the cover or a sweet story. And then the second prompt was the Hey Y'all, a book with more than one POV. And so for that, I read When in Rome this month by Sarah Adams, guys. I really enjoyed this book. I'm not the biggest fan of the grumpy sunshine thing. Not that I don't like it, but it's definitely not my favorite trope. But I did really enjoy this one. I really enjoy Sarah Adams' writing. Like, she's a comfort author for me. So I rated this one a 4.5 star. I would definitely recommend this for any clean, closed door, contemporary romance readers out there. All right, and then this next one also fulfilled a Southern Charm Readathon prompt, and that was the Howdy Partner prompt, a book featuring friends or family. For that, I went with Now With You. This is the second in the Secrets of River Hollow series by Dulcie Dameron. She is a Christian contemporary romance author. I read her first one, Not Since You, I believe in March, I want to say, and I loved it. It was almost a 5-star book, just barely under. This one is a novella, and this one is about the main character's mother. It is an age gap romance. I don't think I prefer age gap romance. I also have a review on this one, so, but I still really liked this. I like her writing. I like that there's faith thrown into it, and it's very natural. I really, really enjoyed this. I love her covers. I gave this one a solid 4 stars, so would definitely recommend. All right, and then the 8th book that I finished this month was A Psalm for the Wild Built. This is by Becky Chambers. This was my BFF's friends, oh my goodness, I can't say it. BFF's book club of the month book, and this is the first one I did not like, and I guess they didn't tell me until after the month because I was like, guys, like, I'm gonna try with this one, but they did end up telling me that they didn't intentionally expect me to like this one. They just wanted to hear my thoughts on it. It is a very like, it has a lot of like thought-provoking questions and stuff. I gave this one a 1 star. It is, I guess, LGBTQ stuff. It uses non-binary pronouns. It says they and them for a person, and it also says they and them for when it's talking about that person and the robot. So, especially towards the end, I had no idea who this author was talking about because the grammar was all over the place and wrong. That was the hardest thing for me to get over. The thought-provoking talks in this book that is brought up. I had some good conversations with my friends about it, but I see where some people can get stuff from it, but me as a Christian, I already have most of the answers to these open-ended questions that they asked, so it wasn't as impactful to me. I gave it a 1 star because I did like the way this author wrote some nature stuff, and I knew that she could write pretty stuff. She had some very pretty lines, and the robot was pretty funny. So those are the things that I liked about it. I would not recommend this though to Christian readers, as it is LGBTQ plus esque book, and I will be unhauling this one so that it can go to somebody who actually likes it. So, all right, and then the next book that I read this month was 3-Minute Devotions for an Anxious Heart. This is by Linda Hong. I give this a 4.5 stars. I've actually been reading this for the past couple of months, but I finished it up this month because I've been reading like 1 little devotional a day. Very short, very easy. I enjoyed this a lot. I did not give it a 5-star, mainly because she used pretty much every translation that you can get. Not every translation, but she used a lot of different translations. Some I like, some I don't like. I do not like, and I do not read, and I do not accredit the message as the word of God in any way. So I didn't like it when she put those in there, and for that reason I did not give it a full 5-star rating, but it was pretty good, pretty basic, pretty simple, easy to read, and encouraging little devotionals. So if you can see it a little bit better, it's a very pretty book, so very tiny. All right, so for the next book, this also fills 2 of the Southern Readathon prompts, and that was Bless Your Heart, an emotional or heart-wrenching read, and also Hot as Blue Blazes, a book with a hot setting. So for this one, this was actually the audiobook I read this month, and I got it from NetGalley, and this book had already come out, so thank you so much to NetGalley for letting me read it, even though it had already published. But this was by Zonder Kids, and it's called Operation Happy. It's a World War II story of a girl at Pearl Harbor and her dog. And the dog's name is Happy. So it is by Jenni L. Walsh. I really, really enjoyed this, guys. It had so much good stuff. It was a lot lighter because it was told by a girl and a dog's perspective. I especially liked hearing it, like audio. I think it gave a little bit more impact to me personally, just hearing it that way instead of reading it. But this author this is based on a real girl. The dog is fictional. It was loosely based off of a family dog, but the dog is fictional. But the girl's story, she is a Pearl Harbor survivor, and she has her own memoir and stuff that she wrote. So the author did say that she took a lot from that memoir and from her personal experience to write. So a lot of the details are correct, but it is an thing of fiction, and this was the middle grade that I read this month. So it was also published by Zonder Kids Christian Book Company, but this didn't really have any faith aspects in it that I could really see. There was a couple talks maybe here and there, but there were also at least once that a soldier during the bombing used the Lord's name in vain. There is also, this is a very heavy topic. It's about war. There are bombings, there is death, there are injuries, and again, they're not as vividly described because they are from the girl's perspective, but they are still there and present. And there's also an attempted assault / rape at one point that, again, is nothing goes into detail, but it is there, the attempt, it almost happens, and it is nerve-wracking. I just want you to be wary of that because this is a middle grade, and I think that you should know some of these trigger warnings so that you can accurately, think, is your child ready for this? So yeah, but I definitely would recommend that one. I really loved it. I gave it a 4.75. So, all right. So the next book that I read this month was Cursed Princess Club Volume 3 because I had to get it immediately after I finished the other one. Guys, these books are so good. I believe I also gave this one a 4.25, something like that. Again, very good. Very little other content in it, but there's always seems to be almost a little something. But guys, I loved this so much and I could not wait until December. Then I went to Webtoons and I've been like doing the daily pass thing and trying to read through it all, and I finished it. And I'm not okay. It was so good. As a whole, it was so good, but I still want more. That's like how good it was, but it also ended so well. So this graphic novel has my heart. Like, if it didn't have the content stuff it does, this series would be a 5-star for me. But because of the content warning, it's probably like a 4.5, 4.75 star like series overall. It's so good. All right, and the next book, I went ahead and used my free space of Southern Hospitality on this book. I could have used it on any of them. I'm just saying I used it on this one. I also read this one for a TBR Chopper Not video. And that was I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon. I will link that video because I talk a little bit more about it there, but basically this is about Anastasia Romanoff and her family like in the 18 months leading up to their execution. And then Anna Anderson, which was the most famous Anastasia impersonator, and her story. Her story goes backwards though, and I didn't like that concept. It was a little bit choppy and weird for me. I did get more interested in her story later on, but I did not like her character or story as much as I liked the Anastasia line in this. All that to say, I did rate it 3.5 stars, and I am glad I read it. So if you're into historical fiction, you like Anastasia and the Romanoff family, this is a pretty decent one to check out. All right, and the next one fills my last prompt. Yeah, my last prompt in the Southern Charm readathon, and that is Heavens to Betsy, a thriller or a mystery. And for that, I read The Couple Next Door because I've had this thriller on my shelf for quite a while because I picked it up for like $1 at a thrift store and I haven't read it. This is by Shari Lapena, and I need to find a thriller that I like, guys. I gave this 2.75 stars, okay? So more than some of the other thrillers I've read so far on the channel because I didn't guess everything in this. I did guess some aspects, but I didn't guess the entire thing. So that was like a point up for me because the other ones I've read, I've literally guessed everything. I've been like, this is so predictable. So only like half of it was predictable to me, at least. And then there's also the thing of cheating is almost always in thrillers, and it's like the main string. And it was not the main string in this because of what it was about, but it was still an underlining thing that was there and definitely came in a little bit at the end, and I didn't like that. Like, can we just not have a thriller that involves cheating on a spouse or whoever? Like, can you just write one that doesn't have that? Like, is that possible? Anyway, this was a little bit hard for me to read, a little bit harder subject, and I want to warn because this one is about a kidnapped baby. So as a mother, I was a little bit like, but I did get through it. I don't know if I'd enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it more than the other thrillers I read, but I think this one will probably be going in the unhaul pile also. So take with that what you will. All right, guys, and now we are here at the end at the final book of the month, the 15th book that I read and finished this month, and that is Radical by David Platt. I just had my video for this post last Friday, so I will put a link to that so that you guys, if you want to know more specifics about this, you can go over there. I do that video a little bit differently because this is a Christian nonfiction, so I don't quite do pros and cons. I just kind of told you what impacted me, like what it was about, my general impression, likes, and stuff like that. So this was a very good book though. I am giving this one a 4.5 star, and it's a good one to end the month on. This was my Women's Christian Nonfiction Book of the Month also, and I'm very glad that my friend suggested and put this one on because it was very good. Probably one of my favorites of this year from that book club, so definitely would check it out if you're looking for a Christian nonfiction. That is all my books. That is all the books I read in the month of May. and I could pick them all up and show them to you at then like I usually do. But they are in a jobbled mess and I would have to fix them and then I would have to pick them all up. And it is very hard to hold them all because they are all different sizes. And there's not 15 of them because I read 2. There's 12 of them though. So it's still a lot of books. So just pretend that there's a stack of books. Oh, giant stack. Yeah, you can see the giant stack in the picture. But anyway, guys, this was a great month. I'm like so glad. I'm so excited for June though. I have a lot of exciting reads for June. If you haven't seen my June TBR, you guys should go check out that video. But please let me know down below what your favorite book of the month of May was. I'm not sure which out of all of these, well, yes I am. Yes I am, because I had one 5-star read this month. Anne of Avonlea was my favorite read this month, obviously. I'm like, which book was my favorite? I have a couple like that are very close for second though, and I'm not sure because Cursed Princess as a whole is very close to second, but Radical by David Platt was also really good this month, so. But yeah, those were kind of like my favorites of the month, and I would love to hear what your favorites of the month were, and I'd love to also hear what you are most excited to read in June is. We'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for all the support, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.